Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to talk about coconut agronomy and processing in Sri Lanka. The coconut sector GDP contribution is gross domestic product contribution. Production contribution is 0.7% in 2019. Total production is 3,086 million nuts in 2019. Extent under cultivation goes 503,000 hectares. That means 5 lakh and 3,000 hectares in 2019. And coconut industry provide livelihood for 7 lakh farm families. Productivity per year per hectare is around 7,054 nuts per hectare per year. Average price, cost of price goes nowadays, I think around 35 rupees. At the 2019, it was 18 rupees per nut. Producer price is I think nowadays around 60 rupees or 70 rupees. Export price is I think around 70 or 60. Major coconut producers are Philippines. Philippines is the main coconut producers. Indonesia is in the second place, and Sri Lanka in the third place. India is in fourth place. I think nowadays it is somewhat changed. Sri Lanka is in fourth place, India is in third place, and Thailand is fifth place. Vietnam is sixth place. So Sri Lanka is the fourth largest coconut producers in the world. Economic lifespan of a coconut tree is around 60 to 70 years. Average yield per year is per tree. Average yield per tree per year is around 75 nuts. Per capita coconut consumption goes 120 nuts per year, 90 fresh nuts, and rest as coconut oil and other products, and 106 nuts when 89 as fresh nuts, and rest is used as oil and other products. So 70 to 80% of total coconut production is consumed locally. Coconut cultivation is dominated by smallholders. It is a smallholder business nowadays. More than 8 hectare land or 20 acres, 20 acres land or more than 8 hectare land, nearly 75%, and rest by estate sector. So 25% is by run by estate sector, and 75% is run by smallholder sector. So coconut was there from ancient days. The systemic cultivation of coconut began in 1841. Coconut triangle includes Kurunegala, Gamba, Puttalam region. Kurunegala region is an intermediate IL1A, that means intermediate zone, low country region. 1A means moisture content is somewhat higher. Kampaha WL3 means somewhat moisture content is low, but wet zone, low country region. Puttalam, dry zone, low country region. wet condition is level 3. That means somewhat poor moisture content. So Kurunegala, Gampa, Woodland are the coconut triangle places 65 to 70 percent area is under coconut. So mini coconut triangles is Middeniya, Beliath and Ranna. You can remember it as MBR. Middeni, Beliath, Ranna. Kurunegala, Gampa, Woodland, KGP, MBR. So let's look at the morphology of coconut. Its family is Palmae or Ericaceae family. Under the Ericaceae family, we can find Ericanut, coconut, like palm trees. So, botanical name is Cocos nucifera, monocotyledonous plant, and that means the root system is fibrous root system and it is unbranched. It have no branch and it has parallel veins in on leaves. Leaf venation is parallel. Uh, so let's look at the root system. Fibrous root system spreading from bole up to 1 meter depth. Bole is the region making a bole. We call the bole. You can see very clearly what the bole is in this picture. So here is the bole region. From the bole region, roots are extend to up to 1 to 2 meters. So it is a fibrous root system spreading from bole up to 1 meter depth and 2 meter radius. 2 meter radius, 1 meter depth and 2 meter radius. No taproot. Wide and short breathing roots or new metaphors present on main roots help to tolerate few days of waterlogging and salinity. When there is a waterlogging condition with limited oxygen, breathing roots will be present. So on main roots, they develop breathing roots, white color roots, or white or cream color roots without reddish color outer layer. These roots are shown in this picture. We can see there are small beginning of roots, starting of small white color roots. These are known as white air breathing roots. And the root system develop a thick root mat under prolonged waterlogging conditions. The thick root mat will be formed if there is waterlogging condition for more than a few days of time. So the absorption region lies immediately behind the root cap. So absorption region lies around here. You can see very clearly, here is the root cap. Near that around area, the absorption region is here. Here we have somewhat not absorbing region. They do not absorb water or ions. So, so the active roots are at the tip, near the tip or the cap of root cap, no? So this is the trunk, this is the bowl, and in the depth of 0 to 280 centimeters, we find only 15 to 20% roots. So soil area is covered with only 15 to 20% roots. And between 40 centimeter, in the depth of 40 to 20 centimeter, and 40 to 60 to 80 centimeter, we find 75% to 80 roots percentage. And at the depth of 100 to between the depth of 80 to 100 centimeters, we find only 3 to 5% of roots. So this is the root distribution pattern of coconut in gravelly soils. Normally, Sri Lanka, within the coconut triangle, uh, what is the coconut triangle? KGP, Kurunegala, Gampaha, Putlam, Kurunegala, Gampaha, Putlam area. We have gravelly soil, so soil with gravels. Then mini coconut triangle we have Deni Beliatran areas regions also we have gravelly soils. So let's talk about the crown or the top of the branching of the top leaves of the coconut tree. There are 30 to 35 leaves or the fronds with a length of 3 to 4 meters per each leaf has about 200 to 250 leaflets. So let's do it. So this is the front, and here we have leaflets. There are 200 and around 250 leaflets. So So there are 30 to 35 fronds with a length of this is what? Length of this is 4 meters. 4 meters. And there are 250 leaflets. So terminal bed is known as cabbage, like in cabbage, we call terminal bud is cabbage. In Sinhala gokkat. So youngest fully open leaf is flag leaf. Actually, flag leaf is open from the cabbage. So flag leaf is known as the gokat. So holes of leaves arranged in spiral manner. There are five circles of leaves arranged in spiral manner. Spiral. So it is arranged like with this spiral man. There are five leaf arrangements like circular pattern in left or right-handed. It may be left-handed or right-handed. So to intercept more light, this spiral arrangement or filet of taxi is to what? To intercept more light. So total leaf area is around 130 to 160 square meters. Canopy shapes, there are different types of canopy shapes: vertical, drooping, hemispherical, spherical. We can draw it simply. When thinking about the canopy shapes, vertical. Vertical means the branches or the fronds are arranged in the like this vertical. This is the main trunk. The fronds are arranged in a vertical direction. And grouping means fronds are arranged like this. All are droopy. Not very good. Droopy, like subjected to lightening. Droopy. They are very dropping. And hemispherical means like this, like an umbrella. Hemispherical. Only half of the circle, half of the sphere is there. Spherical is hemispherical and spherical shapes are very good, but droopy and vertical are not good for photosynthesis. Light penetration is less and the number of leaves are also less. So this is spherical coconut shapes. That means circular. You can see very clearly. That's it. So these are the five spirals. The first leaf is expanded here in the first spherical, first spiral. Inflorescence open here in around 10th leaf, and leaf so sampling is when we take sample to study, we take 14th leaf. It is a standard. So leaf for the front. 14th leaf. Analyze for fertilizer recommendation. To analyze the fertilizer recommendation, we get the 14th leaf. You have to remember that. Physiologically mature leaf is known as the 14th leaf, and horizontal positioning of mid-rib. Horizontal position. You can see the 14th leaf is arranged in a horizontal manner rather than other leaves. Other leaves are maybe in 45-degree angle, 60-degree angle, 90-degree angle, likewise, no. Only the 14th leaf is normally considered as horizontal positioning of the midrib, and 1 to 26th, first to 26th leaf are the functional leaves of a coconut tree. You have to remember they contribute to assimilation in photosynthetic assimilation. That means storage of glucose and glucose destruction into smaller molecules is known as assimilation. So more than the upper beyond the 30th leaf are non-functional or parasitic leaves. We have to remove these leaves, 30th leaves. After the 30th leaf, we have to remove other leaves. They are not functional, non-functional. They absorb excess nutrients. They are unproductive ones, so we have to remove the leaves after 30th leaf. Inflorescence. It is monoecious. That means both male and female flowers are present in one plant. We call monoecious. Male flowers are at the top of the spike. They are numerous. That means we can't count them. There are many number of spikes, many number of flowers at the top of the spike. Female flowers are at the base of the spike. They gives the basic shape of the king coconut fruit. So king coconut or coconut fruit, the shape is given by the female flower. You can see like kurumbeti, small kurumbeti. They are the female flowers actually. At the beginning, they are female flowers. After pollination happen, it is fertilized and then form the coconut fruit. So, see, there are 10 to 50 per inflorescence. So, there are limited number, countable number of inflorescence at the base of the spike, female flowers. So, they are enclosed with spathe, like husk, spathe. We call in Sinhala hanas. Born singly in leaf axils. In axils, inflorescence is born singly. One leaf axil has one spine, one inflorescence. So there may be 12 to 14 inflorescences happening in a palm per year, and 12 to 14 inflorescences per palm per year. Development cycle of coconut bunch is 42 months. You have to remember to develop a fully developed coconut bunch. you have to spend 42 months. So non-visual cycle, the cycle enclosed within the space is known as non-visual cycle. It is about 32 months. After that, visual cycle starts for about 12 months. Altogether 42 months. First 3 to 4 months after flower opening is the critical for moisture stress. So the butternut and immature nut fall will happen. Butternut means Kurumbati. Butternut or immature nut fall will happen due to the lack of moisture or the moisture stress during the flower opening stage. First 3 to 4 months after flower opening. That means after completion of non-visual cycle, the flower opening is happening. So at that time, about 11th month, about 33rd month, 34th month, 35th month, and 36th month should be of sufficient moisture, sufficient water. So let's see the visual cycle and non-visual cycle as a summary. So this is the development cycle of a coconut branch. The first 32 months are non-visual cycle covered within the spathe. So after 32 months, flowering will occur with the opening of spathe. Around 3 to 4 months, butternut will be set and shading will happen if there is moisture stress, more moisture stress. So after that, there are 2 months for another immature nut development, and after that the kernel will be developed in the developed fruit. The kernel development start after within for last 6 months. Then after total of 42 months, you can obtain a fully matured bunch for consumption or export. Fruit or nut. A fibrous drupe nut is there. The type of fruit is drupe. After fertilization, it takes 11 to 12 months to produce mature nuts. Yes. Afterward, that means there are 32 months for non-visual cycle. Visual cycle is about 10 months or 12 months, no? 10 to 12 months, no? So it takes around 12 months to produce a mature nut. Attain full size at 6 months. So the mature nut attain full size after another 6 months. So the base stage for tender nut harvesting is 7 months. So you have to harvest the tender nut within 7 months after fertilization, because the mature coconut nut with fully developed kernel is obtained at 12th month after the fertilization. You have to obtain tender coconut for drink, to making tender coconut drinks like king coconut. You have to harvest after 7 months of fertilization, opening of the spathe. You have to obtain harvest tender coconut after fully opening of spathe, 7 months after fully opening of spathe. So the maximum Invert sugar content in 100 milliliter of tender coconut drink is around 4.5 grams. High volume of water is there per nut, around 500 to 600 milliliter. So let's talk about the major parts in coconut fruit. So this is the typical coconut fruit. You can see exocarp is there, the outer skin, outer hard skin with a wax, with a natural wax. It is known as exocarp. And inside it, we can find the fibrous mesocarp is there. That means husk. 35% of the fruit is husk. Husk covers the nut from and protect from breaking. When falling down, the pressure will not affect due to the fibrous mesocarp or the husk. So the edible kernel will be safe inside the endocarp. Endocarp is the shell, coconut shell. It is around 12% of the total fruit. So there is exocarp, outer skin, mesocarp or the husk, and inside it the shell or the endocarp. Inside it, edible kernel is there, or we call it simply meat. This edible kernel is used for the desiccated coconut production and coconut milk production, coconut cream production, and also coconut oil extraction. So inside the edible kernel, we can find water. 25% of the fruit is water. This kernel water is somewhat sweet taste. It is used to make vinegar like things, and also vinegar, arrack, coconut arrack like things. Toddy also made. Some people make toddy from the coconut water too, not only the coconut flour tapping. So these are the parts of mature nut. Varieties and forms of coconut. Variety in coconut refers to single population with a specific morphological characters. So Cocos lucifera is the species. It is divided into varieties by selection process. They select by looking at several features or the morphological characters. Morphological means appearance. So we separate them into single types of populations. So there are three specific varieties based on these morphological or the appearance characters and also breeding habits. So typica is the tall variety, only commercial variety. So Nana is the dwarf variety. It is for ornamental purpose and it is used to in breeding new varieties. Also, Aurantiaca is the king coconut, the orange color one we drink tender coconut, sweet tender coconut. So there are three types such as what? Typica, Nana, Aurantiaca. So let's look at the differences between these three varieties. Typica or the tall variety, height is 20 meters. Nana variety or the dwarf variety is about 4 meters in height. Orangeaca or what we call king coconut goes only up to 12 meters. So there is a large ball in Typica variety. In Nana variety, there is a somewhat narrow ball absent, maybe absent or somewhat narrow. So in Orangeaca, the ball is present but narrow. It is not wider, it is narrow. So fronds, long and broad fronds are having in a Typica variety. Short and narrow fronds are in Nana variety, and short and narrow in also king coconut or Orangeaca variety. So breeding habit. So outbreeding is the breeding method of Typica variety. Inbreeding is the breeding method of Nana variety. And King Coconut Orantiaca variety also having inbreeding method. So inflorescence, flowering late. Flowering is somewhat happening late in Typica, and it is continuous bearing happens in 6 to 8 years, and if flowering early and seasonal bearing in 3 to 4 years in Nana variety, flowering late and seasonal bearing in 5 to 6 years in Orantiaca variety, King Coconut variety. So nuts per palm. In the typical variety, we have 40 nuts per palm, but they are very large nuts, large, medium size, 200 to 25 grams per nut of copra is there. And there are around 100 nuts in dwarf and Orantiaca varieties. So they are small. Around 110 grams per nut is there in dwarf variety, poor quality. But it's somewhat medium. It is also poor quality in Orantiaca, 125 copra per nut, a small medium. Economic lifespan of Typica variety is 60 years. Both Orantiaca and Nana varieties have an economic lifespan of 40 years. So let's remember these forms of varieties. In Typica, we have forms Typica Bodhi, Ran Tambili, Kon Tambili, Navasi, Porapol, Kamandala, and Dikiripol. So in dwarf or the Nana variety, we have dwarf green or Pumila, and dwarf yellow or Ebonia, and dwarf red Regia, dwarf brown. And in coconut or Orantiaca variety, we have Thambili, cane coconut, and Navasi Thambili. So improved coconut cultivars. Coconut Research Institute, CRI, released improved coconut cultivars by process between tall and dwarf variety. In earlier, I said that dwarf variety is crossed with Typica variety. Nana varieties crossed with Typica variety to produce improved coconut cultivars. So the yield increased by 30 to 40% in these varieties rather than using traditional coconut cultivars. So higher yields than indigenous tall cultivars. Indigenous Typica cultivar, the yield was increased by this cross between tall and dwarf varieties for 30 to 40%. So you have to remember these names: CRIC 60, CRIC 65, CRISL 98, Kapruvana, Kapsuve, Kapseta. These are the improved coconut cultivars. CRIC 60, CRIC 65, CRISL 98, Kapruvana, Kapsuve, Kapseta. So CRIC 60 is a hybrid of two Typica varieties. So they flower in about 5 to 6 years. It is high yielding. Average productivity is 100 nuts per palm per year. Annual nut production per hectare goes around 12,000 to 15,000 per year per hectare. And wide ecological adaptability, so it can grow in all coconut grow in every area. Wide ecological adaptability. Hardy plant. It is a somewhat resistant plant to water absent, and also it is dry resistant and somewhat resistant plant. So Promoted for commercial conditions is all coconut growing areas. Copra yield is 225 grams per nut. So it is tagged in dark blue label. You can easily find CRIC by looking at this dark blue label. It is a cross of two tall varieties. CRIC 65. It is a hybrid of dwarf, a green dwarf and yellow dwarf are crossed with green dwarf to yellow dwarf is crossed with what? Tall variety. Dwarf is and tall cross is the CRIC 65. Okay. CRIC 65 green and CRIC 65 yellow are resistant to mite. So CRIC 65 green is made by crossing green dwarf plant with a tall or typical plant. So CRIC 65 yellow cultivar, improved cultivar is formed by is bred by having a high cross in between yellow dwarf and tall variety. So flowers early. The specialty in CRIC 65 than CRIC 60 is it flower early. It takes 5 to 6 years for flowering of CRIC 60, but for the CRIC 65, flower early 3 to 4 years. So it's somewhat high yielding. Average product is also increased than CRIC 60, 125 nuts per palm per year. Annual nut production per hectare is around 20,000 to 22,000. But I think the size of one nut is somewhat low. Therefore, copra yield is only 200 gram per nut. Here in CRIC 60, we found 225 gram per nut copra yield is there. Highly susceptible to drought. That is the problem. It is not drought resistant. CRIC 60 is somewhat resistant to drought, but CRIC 65 is not adaptable to drought. No widely ecological adaptability. So promoted for home garden cultivation. The home garden is a place with more protection received from all the family members. So the drought may be not a problem because they take care of that particular plants. So it is promoted for home garden cultivation. Copra yield is 200 gram per nut and high toddy yield due to presence of high number of inflorescence. So you can see the number of nuts per year per palm is 125 here. So the number of inflorescence is very much high. Therefore, we can tap this inflorescence, cut this flower and obtain toddy, make toddy. Obtain sap and make toddy. So tag is dark green. In the dark green tag, what do you have? You will have CRIC 65 from Coconut Research Institution. You can obtain. You can buy. So CRISL 90 is a hybrid of tall and San Ramon. San Ramon is another variety, special variety. So San Ramon variety is introduced to Sri Lanka from I think Philippines. Philippines. So it is somewhat resistant to coconut mites rather than CRIC 60 and CRIC 65. So it is crossed with tall variety to obtain CRI cell 98. It has having a high copra yield also. So flowers but the flowering is somewhat late like CRI C60. Like it in 4 to 5 years. Large nuts, somewhat large nuts are there. High copra outturn 280 to 300 grams of nut, more than the CRIC 60. We got only 100 and only I think 100 nuts and 225 copra. No? So the yield is copra outturn is 280 to 300 gram per nut, good quality. Recommended as a good copra source. Annual nut production per hectare is around 12,000 to 15,000. Suitable for large scale cultivations. Actually, it has drought and coconut mite resistance. So, suit for the drought areas, then CRS is 60. If you ask what is a coconut improved cultivar, that is more suitable to heavy drought areas than CRIC 60. It is CRISL 98. So it is labeled as dark red. So let's move into the CRISL 2004 or Cup Ruana. Right. It is a hybrid of dwarf green and San Ramon. So it flowers in 3 to 4 years. Annual nut production per hectare is 20,000 to 22,000. It is somewhat high. High copra outturn of good quality is there. Recommended as a good copra source, tagged in orange color. Cup soya is tagged in pink color. Hybrid of dwarf brown and tall. Dwarf brown and tall are hybrid. So flowers in 3 to 4 years. Annual nut production per hectare is 20,000 to 22,000. Tagged is pink. So cup cedar is tagged with black. Hybrid of dwarf brown and San Ramon. Flower in 3 to 5 years. Annual nut production per hectare is 20,000 to 22,000. So coconut seed gardens are there in Ambalkale. So Ambalkale, there is an isolated seed garden. Pallama, Makandura, Maduruvoya. Also we have coconut seed garden. Ambalkale, Pallama, A double MP, you can remember. Ambalkale, Makandura, Maduruvoya, Mahaveli system B, and Pallama, A double MP. So what are the coconut triangle area? Major coconut triangle? KGP, Kurunegala, Gampa, Putlam. And what are the areas included in mini coconut triangle? Let's move to that topic. Mini coconut triangle, MBR, Middeniya Beliyatarana. You can see Middeniya Beliyatarana, mini coconut triangle is around this area. So Putlam, Gampa, and what? Kurunegala. Putlam, Gampa, Kurunegala. This is the major coconut triangle. This triangle is mini coconut triangle, MBR, Mindeni Beliyatarana. You can very clearly see it. Rovana Kapseta is tagged in black. Rovana is tagged in orange. Capsois is tagged in pink. So coconut seed gardens are in A double MP, Ambalkale, Makanduru, Maduruwe, or Mahavan system plan B, and Mahavan system B, and Pallam. CRI produce 1.5 million, only 50% of annual seed nut requirement for the national replanting program. Rest is made by state selections. So only the 50% of annual seed required for replanting program, national replanting program, provide from Coconut Research Institute. Rest 50% is made by state plantations, state selections. They are selected from different states. From the Morocco state in at Mawataga, Morocco toll is a selected variety. Selection, and plus palms is another selection type. Tall palm similar to CRIC 60 and recommend to all coconut growing area. It is done by like this. If there is a coconut estate named X state, we select best plants out of them and mark using a plus sign. We mark the trees and then we obtain some seeds from coconut seeds from them. So they are tall palms similar to CRI 60, recommend to all coconut growing areas. So they are crosses between CRI 60. What is the form cross? It is tall and tall cross, no? So they are very tall. And let's learn about Morocco tall from Morocco state Mawataga. Tall variety similar to CRI 60. Selected from Morocco state Mawataga. Recommend for wet and wet intermediate soil. So for the Kurunegala region and also Gampaha region, it is recommended. Thick kernel is there. Annual nut production per hectare is 11,000 nuts per year per hectare. Bears in flower bear is in 5 to 6 years. Tag is white. So these are not very yielding, but we can obtain thick kernel because flower bearing happens after 5 to 6 years. So plus farms, high yielding, well-oriented leaves in the crown, well-developed leaves in the crown. Short leaf and bunch stalk. The specialty of plus palms are short leaf and bunch stalk. So regular bearing with at least 60 nuts per palm per year is there. Weight of wet kernel goes about 450 grams per nut. Wet kernel, not the copra. Wet kernel weight. Age of 15 to 45 years palms and bears in 3 to 4 years. Flower bearing is after 3 to 4 years. So this is the basic study about coconut. So